He's 8 years old. I said to him, "So what do you want to be when you grow up?" "Well, I am an aspiring future scientist." "Uh-huh. Well, how did you get to that place?" "Oh, I love to mix chemicals." "Uh-oh, do you?" "Oh, I never have, and if I do, it's just for fun." "Okay." He said, "One of the things that I did was I could put a spoon on my nose and it never fell off." "Oh." And he has written, he says that he wrote a play, or actually a poem, about his trip to New York before he went to New York. So you know what we're talking about here. Okay, this is very special, and we're so thrilled to have him here. And I met his mom, and I met his sister, and they're quite a family. So please give a warm welcome to Saswat Kumar. Saswat. Okay.
Knowing myself. I will try to keep the right thoughts in my mind, to keep them on wisdom and make sure they are kind. To think the right thoughts, awareness is the key. You have to ask yourself, what's happening in me? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? Keep your awareness on this if you want to begin healing. It won't take long to see what's happening inside. The mind is undisciplined. It's on a wild ride. It travels to the past, wallowing in what has been done, then jumps to the future, worrying what is to come. It leaps from person to person, thinking what others must do. It spins with old thoughts, rarely thinking something new. How does the heart feel? Have this you realized it's aching and empty. This should be no surprise. With all of this spinning, the heart can't create love, so it looks to other people, forgetting to look above. It either chases after others, hoping it will receive, or runs the other way when it doesn't get what it needs. Then it cares for just a few, and is quick to make you cry. The heart has shut down. It's so brittle and dry. It's time to become aware of what's happening inside if you are going to make a change and get on a different ride. Once you become aware, a realization must come next. Find out what's at your root, why you're sad or vexed. Have you forgotten who you are or want others to provide? Which one of the vices is stirring you up inside? Have you forgotten about karma or thinking life is unfair? Are you blaming others or making the mistake to compare? So take responsibility. Don't blame others for your state. Everything is happening to see what you'll create. Will you try to take your happiness from outside, or will you learn to create it, to generate it inside? This can only happen if you become aware, realize your mistake, then do something rare. You must transform yourself, turn lead into gold, take responsibility, and strengthen your soul. Wait, that's not just. Wait, I just looked at you just for the photos. Use every moment to restore your peace of mind. Bring love into your heart to last you throughout time. Thank you, thank you. Okay, could you please give another round of applause to my family who really helped me to study this poem, to read it tonight.
That was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Did you notice how he looked at you? There might have been issues in there that I think you were trying to get across. Did you have some things you wanted this audience to hear?
Yeah. I would
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, didn't mean to have you redo it, but I know you were making an emphasis there on your.
yeah.
This young man reads a book a day, okay, among other things. He plays the piano and he's a star baseball player. So what can we say?
Thank you.
I have a feeling, oh no, back there in the green room, I could have stayed all day. This is quite an amazing young man. Now, following on that, and this is a very wonderful young woman named B.J. Nathan, who is the leading Indian, follow this, leading Indian American female comedian, who is making people laugh across America and around the world. International comedy phenomenon Russell Peters calls her one of the top 2 South Asian comics in the world to watch. BJ grew up in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. Here we are again. And her material reflects her experience as an Indian girl in America. And I said to her, well, now tell me a little bit about your family, again, when I'm in the back room. She said, well, there's 3 sisters. There's my eldest one, who is a doctor, and then my middle one is a lawyer, and then there's me. She said that she was the least likely person in the world, in her class and in her family, because she was so shy to ever be on the stage. But somehow, and she will share with us a little bit about how that happened. How did she come from the shyest to what she is now? Please welcome B.J. Nathan. B.J.
Hello, everybody. Oh my God, how good was that kid? Congratulations on giving birth to that child. My gosh. My dad would so want him for a son, because as you guys know, I'm the youngest in my family, and there's 3 girls, and Indian parents, who's an Indian parent here, applaud, or parents, applaud if you're a parent. Okay, hello. My dad likes to brag about his 3 kids, he's like, hey, this is my daughter Shanti, she's a doctor. This is my daughter Indu, she's a lawyer. This is my daughter Vijay, she's adopted. Yeah. My dad thinks education is very important. He's very educated. He has a BSc, an MBA, an LLM, and he's a CPA. I've got HBO, ADD, and a DUI. That's it. So how many people here already meditate? You can applaud if you meditate. How many people here are new to meditation? Applaud. Okay, a few. And maybe some are too shy to apply. I'm new. I don't know anything about meditation yet. I'm hoping to learn with some of the other people here tonight. But it is weird to think about taking time, taking a breath. Because, I microwaved my 2-minute meal today, and I was so angry that it wasn't done on time, and I had the 2-hour whitening for my teeth. So it's really weird to think about just slowing down suddenly. And I've been on a diet for 2 days, and I'm like, why am I not 20 pounds lighter? But things take time. Things take time. When I first started performing and doing stand-up, I was actually really scared to tell my parents, because it's not something that Indians really do, especially Indian girls. So I told my mom first, because she was the nicer one in the family. And she said, don't worry, I will handle Daddy, no problem. 2 minutes later, my father is furious. He's like, Vijay, how can you do this to your family? I have struggled in this country for 25 years and you're going to disgrace me this way? I I'm like, Dad, I just want to make people laugh. Be a comedian. He said, oh, your mom told me you wanted to be a comedian. So as well as being a comedian, I'm also a storyteller. So tonight I'm actually going to do a comedic story from one of my shows. I'm a solo performer, so I have a few different shows. This story is from Good Girls Don't, but Indian Girls Do. Don't worry, it's clean. Everyone, it's very clean. I've been warned, it's very clean. And the reason, part of the reason I was doing this story is when I had talked to Sister Jenna earlier, she talked about meditating and talked about how it's about reflecting, finding meaning, and being authentic. And that is actually what I do when I write comedy or when I tell stories. I look at my life and I reflect on my life. And I try to find a meaning in the events of the past that have happened to me. And then when I come to present it to you, I try to be funny, and I try to be as authentic as possible so that we here are connected and that you feel what I'm feeling. So the story I'm going to tell you today is from that show, and it is called Beware. I had only ever seen my grandma, Mumji, cry twice in her life. The first time was when Indira Gandhi was killed. The second time was when Lucille Ball died. My grandma, Mumji, loved Lucy. She seriously loved Lucy. When I was little, she would babysit me and interpret every episode. விஜய் லூசி சொல்றது ஏன்னா ஆடக்கூடாது ஏன்னா பாடக்கூடாது நான் கூட இந்த ஷோல இருக்கலாம் ரிக்கி சொல்றது லூசி நீ ஆடக்கூடாது நீ பாடக்கூடாது நீ வீட்டுல இருந்துட்டு சோறு பண்ணணும் ஏன் ரிக்கி ஏன்னா ஆடக்கூடாது ஏன்னா பாடக்கூடாது பாரு விஜய் பாரு எவ்வளவு பெரிய கண்ணு. My grandma didn't speak a word of English, but she understood Lucy's big eyes, her fights with Ricky, and all the trouble she got into with Ethel. And it seemed like America was filled with these fantastic people who could laugh, cry, scream, shout, say and do anything they wanted to do. So different from India, where there were only 2 channels, both news. TV was America. And since I was the only grandchild born in America, my grandma decided that I was going to be on TV. Now, I was about 10 years old when I decided to become an actress, and I told my dad the plan, and he wasn't too happy. Act? You want to act? I will tell you how to act. You act like Albert Einstein and do your math homework. To my dad, only math and science were really important. Everything else was STUPID, stupid. But everything else was what I was really good at. But even though he couldn't see it yet, I knew that I was destined for something greater than the science fair. So I made it my mission to become a star. I tried out for every play and musical at my all-white elementary school. I got my first break in 4th grade. I was cast as Martin Luther King. Yes, I was perhaps the closest thing that we had to a black man in the class. But I was the lead. But I didn't get to say much. They just recreated the assassination scene. In the 5th grade, we did a musical on oral hygiene, and I was desperate to play the Tooth Fairy. But Jenny Loeb got the part. And she had this wispy blonde hair like an angel, and I guess looked a lot more like a tooth fairy than I did. I got the role of Tooth Decay. Now, I know I'm not human, but I saw it as a step up because I didn't get killed during the production of this show. And I got to sing a solo. like to eat the sugar on your teeth. You foolish people, you give me lots to eat. My dad would see me on stage, realize that I was the next Shirley Temple, and send me and Mungie off to Hollywood. I prepared this devilish makeup, kind of like Gene Simmons from Kiss. But on opening day, my teacher, Mrs. Goldberg, made a change. VJ, honey, I really like what you're doing with the song. You're taking a lot of risks, making a lot of good choices. But instead of the makeup, I want you to wear this black mask. So you look more menacing, more like tooth decay. It wasn't a black mask. It was a black burlap sack that she pulled over my head, tied around my neck with a piece of white rope. I looked like I was about to get lynched, especially because I was surrounded by tiny dancing white molars. At first, I wanted to protest because I couldn't see out of this mask. And if I couldn't see, then certainly my father wouldn't know that it was me up there. But I was a professional. And I was going to be the best tooth decay they had ever seen. And I was. Until the dance finale. The unfortunate combination of being blind and wearing clogs sent me spiraling down the edge of the stage, wiping out 2 rows of first graders, before a particularly robust lad ended the domino effect. Amid the screams, I heard a voice saying, "Hey, that's my method!" Finally, I make it to the 6th grade, and this is my last chance to prove to my father that I am meant to be a thespian. Because once I hit junior high, he's got my whole life planned out for me. Let's see, if you take AP Biochem in 7th grade, you can be pre-med by the time you're 13. I couldn't let that happen. So I put all my energy into auditioning for the 6th grade production of Julius Caesar. I was going to be Caesar's wife, the oh-so-tragic Calpurnia. I practiced like crazy every day for 2 weeks. My grandma Mumji was my acting coach. She didn't understand a word I was saying, but appreciated all of my expressions and was a fan of big eyes and pointing for effect. After a stirring audition, I was sure that I had the part locked up. I ran to school the next day to check the cast list posted on Mrs. Rabinowitz's door. Brutus, Caesar, Calpurnia. Jill Grinspoon got the part. I got nothing. I couldn't go home and tell my mom or my grandma. She'd be so sad. Maybe my dad was right. Maybe this was stupid. Maybe I was stupid. So stupid for ever wanting this. But in my heart, I knew, and I had to prove it just to myself. Mrs. Rabinowitz, maybe I'm not right for Calpurnia, but I could play Caesar. I am great at dying. Did you see my Martin Luther King? I'm sorry, Vija, but all of the leads have been taken by the good actors. Everyone had a part except for me and the 4 slow readers in the class. But there was one speaking role left that she was casting by lottery because it was just one line. I held my breath as she pulled a torn piece of paper out of a hat and said, "The soothsayer will be Vija." In that moment, the hand of God had come down and picked my name. I was the soothsayer, and my single and only pivotal line was, "Caesar, beware the Ides of March." Opening day, I was a wreck. My parents were in the front row with my grandma Mumji. My father had bought a book on computer programming with him because he always brought books to things that he knew would be boring. On my cue, I hobbled out, parting the citizens of Rome. Caesar, beware the eye of Mars. I turned to go, but something held me there, so I turned back. Seriously, Caesar, beware the eye. I didn't know if my dad was reading or watching, but I knew that my grandma Mumji would love the big eyes. Thank you very much.
Yes! Another hand for VJ. She really did a great job. VJ. When I first met, I had no idea whether she was good or what. And I said to Sister Jenna, I said, do you know this comedian? Because nothing can be worse than if you have a comedian that is not really funny, or if there's a problem, you know this. Yes, I know this, Jan. I feel very strongly. I said, okay. Anyway, she was fabulous. So thank you, VJ. She really is. I understand we have a very special guest in the audience, including all of you, and her name is Ayanna Gregory. She is Dick Gregory's daughter. Ayanna, can you stand up and wave to all of us so we know you're here? Oh, wonderful. What a thrill to have you here. Thank you. I feel like calling you up and have you speak. Maybe we'll do that at the end. Oh, sing! We'll have you sing. Yes. Okay, our next event will be a panel, which is going to be focusing on the meditative practices and how our country and each of us can benefit from meditation, and why inner peace is so vital for our lives at this time. Tonight's very exceptional speakers and panelists will offer us insightful tools about their practices and how they get through the tough times. Our moderator is Dr. Kanu Kogood. Dr. Kanu Kogood. Dr. Kogood is a renowned anthropologist and organizational development specialist, best known for co-designing and implementing the award-winning Leadership Alchemy program for 7 years at NASA. Whoa, that alone is worth being the moderator. Having spent most of her life on a spiritual path, Kanu has been able to integrate her professional expertise with her spiritual approach. Kanu, we welcome you. Thank you. Our next panelist is Harriet Mayer Fulbright. Mrs. Fulbright, please join me. Mrs. Fulbright, a name many of you may know, has spent the majority of her career in the fields of education. I'm going to bring you right up here in front of everybody. This is Mrs. Harriet Mayer Fulbright. as in Fulbright scholars. Anyway, it's again through Sister Jenna, and I always thought, well, I know everybody in town. She has again opened so many doors for me, it's unbelievable, and one of those people was this wonderful, wonderful woman named Harriet Fulbright, who has spent the majority of her career in the fields of education and the arts. She is the former executive director of the President's Committee on the Arts and Humanities under President Clinton. Currently, she is president of the J. William and Harriet Fulbright Center, which through education, interaction, and engagement
promotes the late senator, her beloved husband, vision of world peace and nonviolent means of resolving conflict. And she is everywhere around the world, reaching out to so many people. We're thrilled you're here. Please welcome Harriet Fulbright.
Okay, sit down.
Oh, yeah. Our next panelist, Sister Kala Iyengar, M.D. Sister, please welcome Sister Iyengar. Sister Iyengar has a passion for understanding the deep process of healing, which led her to explore meditation with the Brahma Kumaris. Now, as a senior member, she teaches topics on stress-free living, I think we're interested, value-based living, and integrative health. In addition, she serves as director of the Peace Village Learning and Retreat Center in upstate New York, where all of us want to get. I tell you, we definitely want to go there, where she creates innovative programs to promote spiritual, emotional, and mental health for humanity. It is so great to have you here with us. We're so proud of you. Please join. And last but not least, surely not least, this is, when I knew this gentleman was going to be here today, I thought, oh my, we have gone to the mountaintop. His name is Clark Peters. He lives in London. Clark, can I have you out here while I'm talking about you? No? And he's come here with his beautiful, beautiful wife, Penny. They live in London. They have a son named Maximilian, well, and 4 other children, I understand. So you've got quite a family. He has an amazing background himself. He's an American actor, a singer, a writer, a director, best known for his roles as, and see if you know these, Detective Lester Freeman and Albert Big Chief Lambeau on the HBO dramas, The Wire and Treme. We got that one right. I said, I have to tell him, it's so funny. I was saying to him, now, Clark, let me see, and you're on Treme? He said, well, no, that's not quite it. It's Treme. So I know all of you know that, but never mind. The thing that excited me the most is that he played Nelson Mandela in the 2000 film Endgame, and he stars as Bishop Enoch in Spike Lee's new film, listen to this, that opened today called Red Hook Summer. Please welcome Charles, Clark Peters. The excitement is too much for me. Thank you, Clark, and thank you everybody for being here. And Kanu, I'm going to hand this over to you for our panel. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I think this is probably the most important reason that you came, I hope, is to learn more about meditation. I know some of you already meditate, some of you are new to meditation, and some of you may meditate sporadically, and hopefully this evening will be an inspiration for you. All of us are meditators and have been long-term meditators, and we want to share with you our practices, what it means to us, and it's different for each person. So you'll get the complete potpourri of how we each see from where we sit what meditation is, what it does for us, why we do it, and what we hope the impact will be to everyone that surrounds us. So I'm going to start by asking the first question. And this really is about what is meditation. Some people see meditation as sitting very still, no thought, lotus position, completely silent. Other people see meditation as a time for prayer, a time for contemplation. Other people see meditation as a time to think about ways that I could be a better me, the better person that I could be. And some see meditation as a way to build their relationship with the divine, with God, with the Supreme Soul. So I want to ask the panelists, how do you see meditation and how do you do it? And whoever would like to start.
Oh, thank you. Meditation has been a very wonderful um, organizing principle for me. You know, I have 3 children and 2 grandchildren. I am president of a college, and I do a lot of community work. And before meditating, there was just this jumble of, oh, I've got to do this. If I start the day with meditation, somehow I can still all of those confusing voices, and the whole day can fall into place, and I can make sense of it and still feel human at the end of the day.
Doesn't seem fair, does it? That you should relax. Meditation. You know, the easiest way I think I can explain what I do is just remember the young man, what he said before us. Really? All the things that he said I should do, we should do. So, my meditation, or the meditation which is taught by the Brahma Kumaris, is what I do. I see it simply as a process of taking charge of my thoughts and consciously directing my thoughts, but with some basis of focus and understanding of where I want to direct them. And not only that, but also really emphasizing the quality of my thoughts. Because we feel that, you know, as you said rightly, some people believe in making the mind very still and find it very difficult. But for me, what's made it easy is to know that it's an active process of engaging the mind, but consciously and diligently in a particular direction, and using certain qualities to kind of infiltrate the mind. And so for me, I think it's very important, for example, to kind of nourish the mind before I can even meditate, for example, because the mind will only output what has been input into the mind. And so an important part for me before meditating is to kind of feed myself with some very positive thoughts, thoughts of my own self, thoughts of my own reality, truth. And that kind of lifts me to a place where I can generate the energy of positive thoughts, good quality thoughts, and also have the power to take off. It's almost like a space shuttle taking off. So you need to have some energy to take off. So that energy really comes from what we believe to be spiritual knowledge, spiritual understanding, getting to know yourself in your true form. Yeah.
I think meditation is a tool. And I think it's a tool that if you use and you hone properly, daily, once an hour, a minute an hour, that you find that it's a tool that can serve you, whether it's in prayer, or as Conrad said, some people use it to calm themselves, to still their minds. That's a hard one for me because I don't know if your mind can ever really be still. But recently I've had quite a lot of time in meditation. I've just had a bilateral knee replacement. And for those of you that don't know what that means I now have 2 metal pieces in my knees that are acting as my knee joints. Not the patella, not the kneecap, but what's attached to the bone. And I've found that that through meditation, the place that it takes me had helped to facilitate some of the healing. That where it took me away from the pain of the healing. Being used as a tool, the power of our minds is really quite enormous. It's really quite powerful. I'd like to paraphrase something that a man named Paramahansa Yogananda had espoused, which was everything you see around you began in somebody's mind. That's the power of your mind. The chair you're sitting on, the clothes you're wearing, the building that we're in, this microphone began in somebody's mind. That's a very powerful instrument you have stuck behind your eyes. Meditation seems to help facilitate accessing the power of that. I was sitting in my garden and I was thinking along the lines of this matter in comparison to all the other matter around me, the trees, the sidewalk, the porch, the chair I was sitting in, and how it all sort of vibrates at some level. And that through meditation, I might be able to affect that. So I began to use it on myself. I began to visualize my knees, first of all, not hurting. I began to visualize myself getting up without the cane and walking. I began to visualize that these trees and these plants around me are breathing out oxygen and that I'm taking it in, and that whatever magnetic energy they exude, I'm finding a way of being in harmony with it in order to bring this body in harmony, bring it back to a point of health. And I could have only done that if I had practiced some point of being silent, being peaceful, in order to move away the thoughts that are wasted, whether they're thoughts of the past or what I'd like to do or what wasn't done, and really focus on what was happening in this body. So here I am 8 weeks later in front of you. I could use the cane or I could not use the cane. I prefer not to. Sometimes it does get a bit, it's still matter that I'm in, and so it swells up, which makes it difficult to bend. But I think through meditation, it has allowed me to even accommodate that, and so that my mobility is easier. So in the Word, I think that through the practice of meditation, you'll find that it's a tool that you can use at any point in time for yourselves, and if the power of the mind is that strong, for others. Whether it comes out in the form of a healing prayer for someone you don't know, whether it comes out in a healing prayer for the whole earth. It's your mind that has the power to do that. And meditating facilitates getting to know yourself.
That's great. I think you set us up very well, Clark, for our next question, which really is, what are the benefits of meditation? And I can see very clearly that it's been a huge part of your healing process. When I meditate, I actually try to take in everything, like let my mind go, but be aware of all the sensory stuff that's happening around me. Like allow everything to just be as it is. And be still in that place. So if there's a garbage truck outside, or if there's my breathing, or how I'm sitting, I take that all in and sit with it. And I notice that when I don't resist what's happening, that I get a much deeper quality of meditation, that I can actually go really deeper into my own self. So I'm really seeing the benefit to my day, as you all, as Harriet, you mentioned. What are really the benefits? You know, all of us have been doing meditation for a long time. Over time and in the moment, what have been the benefits? So I'll start with you again, Harriet.
Okay, I will go a little bit deeper into what finally brought me to meditation, too. I had always led a really busy, active life, and yet at one point of about 12 or 15 years ago, I began to feel a deep fatigue that I couldn't get rid of. It was just awful. And when I went finally to get medical attention, I was told, yes, I had cancer. It was an incurable cancer, and the first doctor I went to said, it'll probably be 5 years when you'll be dead, and so why don't you just put your affairs in order? Well, I didn't like that answer very much. And so I searched farther and found a doctor who felt that I didn't have to decide that in 5 years I was no longer going to be here, and he was really going to help me help me towards a perhaps not a cure, but a complete remission. And I then searched further and found that if I had a way of beginning the day in a very calm way so that I could organize what was going to happen within those 24 hours, that would give me a kind of peace that would help me even with my health problems. And that is exactly what happened. I found a doctor who decided I didn't have to die in 5 years. And he put me on some fairly experimental medicine, which here I am. And not cured, but I'm in complete remission. And that felt good. But the meditation was truly, truly wonderful, because in that stillness, in the beginning of each day, when I could quiet my mind and therefore organize my thoughts and organize the things that I had to do, I could then get up and proceed. No matter how much was put on my plate, I could manage it. And it has, I think, in a very real way, helped to save my life.
So we have two living examples of actually what really meditation, even the word comes from, right? I think many of you know, even the origin of the word meditation comes from the Latin word medere, which means to heal. So it's not, surprising that we have beautiful stories like yours. For me, the benefit that I have seen really came from knowing that there is an inside and there is an outside, and that I can choose where I want to put my attention to. I could be lost in what's happening outside, or I could take time, I could withdraw myself, and I could actually feel that there's an energy that is inside of this body that's actually me. And to be able to separate the two. And I think what this distance does is, amazing things. The distance between the outside and the inside. And for me, I think the most beneficial thing I found was that I could actually start to think originally. In other words, I could actually begin to feel myself that I have something called an original way of thinking, an original way of feeling, original way of, because we are so much, subject to influences from outside all the time. And so, and of course that influence can do so many things. And the most important thing for me was to kind of, know that there is an inside and there is a value system that I have inside, and there's a way that I feel about certain things, and to be assertive about it, and to really feel good about that, and to stand up for it. And the second thing I think I found happening also, that because of that distance, there's a lot of objectivity. You don't get wound up in situations. And so you're able to discern things better, and you're able to make better judgments of people and of situations and act accordingly. So I think in real life, even though you will say, oh, that must have taken years and years, but it happens very, very quickly. And the amazing thing is, even though there is a distance, but it actually feels like you're closer to people in spite of that distance. And so there is a new dimension in relationship that you're able to develop. And so I can't stop saying how many benefits there are, but my most, impressive change or transformation or benefit experience has been in the form of getting to know myself better, asserting myself, and being able to relate with others based on that.
Beautiful. And I want to hear from you again, Clark. I want to say something, though, to what you said about the inside and the outside space, because, I think there's a melting of boundaries, in a sense, that meditation does. And for me, that is a way to think about how some people say meditation is a selfish act. You're sitting there, you're quiet, you're doing this for yourself. It looks like you're doing nothing. How can it really benefit other people? And I think what you just said is so profound, because it brings you closer to other people. The connection that you feel with other people by dropping the inside, outside, but knowing where you are inside and outside.
All the barriers that we have built.
Yes, it's just beautifully said. Clark.
I was just actually agreeing with you that there's this inside and outside, this duality kind of thing that happens. In meditation, you do have that choice, but you wind up spending more time on the inside. And as an adult, well, by the time you're 16, if you have meditated, you spend so much of your time outside of yourself and allowing yourself to be influenced by everything outside of you. Whether it's music, food, fashion, the news, ego, your friends, so many, to the point where we don't really know who we are, because we're so busy trying to please or to be with somebody else. And I think that what that does to an individual sometimes is set up a fear of being by themselves. Some people don't like their own company because they don't know how to be with themselves. Am I hitting something here? Yeah. So it seems that meditating. I'll go back to the analogy of me being in the body and these knees. This becomes a vessel that I am inhabiting. Through meditating, it becomes more of a vessel. And as it becomes more of a vessel in my perception of life, it also brings on more responsibility, of how I'm going to manage this body, this health. Through meditation, that's one of the benefits. It gives you the strength to make that decision. And I have to say, I disagree that meditating is just sitting quietly as a selfish kind of act. I think it's much more of a self-loving kind of act. And I want to make it clear that self-loving is really you taking care of you. It's not a selfish thing. And that with that, you begin to find that there's more to you than even meets your inner eye. I'm laughing, and see you're not. But this I find these are just a few of the benefits. If I'm on the subway or on a plane or just waiting for a bus, I can sit there with my eyes wide open and meditate. And in that space, use my imagination to do whatever good I feel I would like to contribute, you know. So I don't have to be alone in a room, quiet, with incense and candles and music. No, I could be walking down the street, eyes wide open, and you not know that I'm trying my best to affect a positive feeling in you. You know, and this is one of the benefits, I think, of meditation. Yes.
Jan mentioned at the outset that I had the great privilege to design and co-facilitate the Leadership Alchemy program for NASA for a number of years. And one of the practices, and it was a whole person way of looking at leadership, and for me, I've been wanting for years to integrate my professional life with spirituality, but in a way that was really acceptable to people, where they could really hear it. And so we taught meditation to scientists and engineers and business people in this transformational 9-month leadership program, and we called it attention training. And it was really that focus. And I think you spoke to that really well just now, Clark, about the focus that it's where your mind, where you're placing your mind in the moment that matters. And whether it's closed-eyed or open-eyed, it's an act of
It's proactive.
loving.
It's proactive.
It's proactive, yes.
Absolutely.
So let's speak to that. Let's talk about that, the proactive action of meditation. How is it proactive, Harriet?
That's a wonderful way of putting it, because when I meditate, I find myself listening to myself better than, when I'm constantly trying to interact with people. I listen to that deep inner voice, but it also helps me to listen to and hear other people better, what they are really saying, what they are really thinking and trying to communicate. There is that kind of stillness that lets voices in that helps me a tremendous amount, especially in a college where I started a college for foreign students, teaching them English in this country so that they could enter a regular institution of higher learning here and without having to worry about the basic language they're learning in. They've got that through our college, and they can go on. And it really, that meditation helps me very much in hearing all of these voices from different cultures.
Mr. Kala.
I'm not sure how many of you have heard, but earlier in the day I was just watching the news about this shooting in New York City, right? And I was thinking, of course, they were trying to investigate and find out what really caused this man to do this. And I remember several years ago, a similar incident had happened, and there was a shooting in one of the trains, in Long Island Railroad. And our center happened to be very close to the railroad, and a lot of people just drop in and meditate for a few minutes, and with nothing else, no other agenda. And the thought had fleetingly passed in my mind at that time, but if only this man had come in for 5-10 minutes at least one time, would it have been the same? And it kind of passed my mind again today when this happened. When you talk about proactive, for example, I mean, we could, be creating news and, listening to the news whole day, but what is it that will actually help situations like this or incidents like this? And I feel that it's like It's like we are almost running on empty, as people, as human beings, as souls, as spirits, empty of, endurance power, empty of patience, empty of understanding, empty of, so many qualities that are so important. Love, most importantly, love. And so who knows what happened to this man, what, today or whatever. So I couldn't but help thinking that really it's about keeping ourselves full rather than empty. And I could also go back to my own time, when I started to practice meditation, and I was in active practice at that time, pediatric practice at that time. And I would consciously not only meditate in the morning, but I would also consciously take time between every few patients, for example, when I would feel that it's really getting to me, or I'm really upset with a parent, that they didn't do what I told them to do or whatever. So I would make sure that I have to empty myself of that negative feeling before I see the next one, because then I'm going to carry that same impression to the next person on, and that's going to change my interaction. So I feel it's something that we, have to take charge of, and not just allow things to pile up over the period of the day. And that's why I feel one of the practices that we have within the Brahma Kumaris, which we call as traffic control, is actually stopping it several times during the day, even if it's for a minute, half a minute, but really coming back to that neutral state of mind where I'm able to feel my positive energy, my positive nature, my positive qualities, and my inner power. And I feel that's the most proactive thing that we can do, and that's what will prevent a lot of personal as well as, social accidents that we see day in and day out. So definitely something that we do regularly to build that bank that we have inside of positive qualities, positive emotions.
What was your question?
I'm sorry.
I'm so totally enthralled by
Isn't it wonderful? It's so
It's
wonderful.
fabulous.
And it takes your, it's like a delicious meal to savor the practice of meditation, because meditation teaches meditation, and to get the benefits, to see what meditation actually accomplishes for us, and how we can bring ourselves more present to the moment, and as you said, Sister Kala, more full. So Clark, whatever point you want to pick up on
It's
here,
it's
please.
actually sparking up so many, but because I've had a moment of meditation, I can calm myself down. Patience is one of those. Patience is really a tool like meditation that you will find while meditating. You find out what patience is and the application of it. There's so many, as well, there are other bits of information, knowledge, however you want to define that comes into, that are activated in meditating. That whole duality between whether it's mind and body, or body and soul, or matter and spirit. And each one of these things has its own rules and laws that they have to be tied to, whether it's karma, you and that's the one that has been mostly used these days. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, the word karma was not part of the American vocabulary. It's a new concept. Am I right or wrong? Whereas the word karma hasn't been. But you reap what you sow, is what Jesus said. Is that not karma? So these laws, through whatever scriptures you want to follow, have always been there for us, and have always been a source of instruction. And while in meditation, you have a chance to churn on some of these things. So I'm an actor. I'm an actor, and I'm a father, and I'm a husband. That's a lot of roles to play. Believe me. And there are times when I just have to go, everyone looks at me like, is he all right? I'm fine. I just need to reconnect, go back to that space that I found early in the morning, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. If I'm around people who are not fine with that, guess what? That's not my problem,
Tough luck.
right? Because that's about self-love. You know, it's about me taking care of this, and that is a proactive choice. I'm still trying to figure out how to walk on water, but that hasn't quite come yet. I think I'll leave it at that. Back to you.
Okay. So this is going to be our last question, and it really has to do with all of you being here tonight, and what attracted you, what brought you here, what you know, what. There's a reason that each of us is here, I think, and it's sometimes more than we are aware of in the moment. We are calling this initiative America Meditating. America Meditating. So I want to ask the panelists here, why America Meditating? You know, meditation has come, as you said, karma now is part of the lexicon, you know, as part of our, but the concept was there. Meditation has been there, but it really was seen as an Indian or Eastern religion. It wasn't part of what we do. Why is America leading the way? What are we going, why is it us spreading the word and making meditation and yoga so, such a spreading phenomenon across the country? So, Harriet, how about we start with you?
Well, sort of being part of the education community, I have noticed that we do open ourselves to the things that seem to help, not always just from books, but from people as human beings. And I think we are open to, we're not rigid. The one thing, I've done a lot of traveling, and this country, I think, begins to accept innovative methods and new ideas extremely well, because the society is fluid. It's not hierarchical. It's not static. And so something like meditation, which has tremendous benefits, some people, as you could tell just from our answers, each person has a different take on what makes it important. But it is important. And for me, it makes really listening to others easier. I hear more when my mind is open, still and open, and understand better. When people talk, I'm not just waiting until they stop so I can go on with my own thoughts. I'm really trying to hear what they have on their minds. And I think a lot of that has to do with meditation.
Thank you. We just have a few more minutes, so Clark, Sister Kala, I'm going to ask you both just to wind it up. Why America Meditating? Do you want to?
My mother would be upset if I went
You know,
before.
there's a saying that comes to mind, not sure if in this part of the world, but in India, the hand that beats is also the hand that embraces. The meaning that, you know, America has been blamed or, you know, pointed to as being the cause of so many things happening in the world. I know everything happens here very fast. There's no time to settle down. There's no time to feel the peace. Yes, of course, there's a lot of uncertainties economically, especially, and you know all of that. And most importantly, the value system, I think that America has been blamed for, which is a lot to do with materialism. I think there comes a time when we need to kind of step back, take a real, genuine look at what's happening. And I think that time is now. And because we believe that, you know, everyone, America or anybody else, we're all human beings, and all human beings are made of the same substance in terms of the soul substance. So the peace, the love, the happiness, the understanding, it's all there, but we are yearning to find it. And so that time has come, perhaps, and that's why we're doing this program, America Meditating.
I've spent the majority of my adult life outside of America, and as an American abroad, we wind up being the front line of America's policies. You know, Americans abroad wind up getting firsthand from the citizens of whatever nation they're living in. We hear it first. What happened at that? What happened with this? Or why was John Lennon shot? Or how did Bush get back in? Or you know, all of these. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way at all, as much as just to say that everything we do is really scrutinized by the world. I'm telling you that firsthand, having been out there and watched our reputation dwindle from the first time going to Europe, where people wanted the American dollar and all this, to we don't want to have anything to do with you. This is a horrible place for an American to be outside of America, believe me. But we export hip hop, we export fashion, we export films, and the world looks to America. If America starts meditating, what kind of commodity can we put into the world then? Yeah?
Thank you very much. Thank you to all the panelists. Thank you all for your wonderful participation and support. Thank you.
Thank you again, Dr. Kanu Kogod. Stand up as I say your name, and so we can give you a applause. Harriet Fulbright, Sister Kala Younger, and Clark Peters. Thank you all. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Wow, that was really a fabulous panel. I mean, that's an extraordinary group. I just, anyway, we're moving near the end here, so we've got some exciting things just before you're going to be leaving, and what we have now, and I'm sorry, but there's no flash that's allowed during this next part, which is the dance. And we are fortunate that we have the Abigail Francisco School of Classical Ballet that's come to us from Southern Maryland, for those of you who have experienced them before. The Abigail offers training for those aiming for a professional dance career, as well as those enjoying dance as recreation, whether it's tap, jazz, Broadway, or classical ballet. The Abigail Francisco School helps students to find the dancer within. So it is my pleasure to introduce, I'm going to ask them to come out one at a time, because all these young, beautiful spirits, they have been studying and they train and they each need to have a recognition. So I'm going to ask them to come out one at a time. Naomi Owens. Beautiful. Hannah Tucker. Hannah Tucker. Cecilia Bronsard. Cecilia Bronsard. Samantha Harding. Samantha Harding. Alexandra McWilliams. Alexandra McWilliams. Mackenzie Roberts. Mackenzie Roberts. Jenna Lietzel. Jenna Lietzel. A.J. Bugner. A.J. Bugner. Paige Wagner. Paige Wagner. Adrian Mendes Hutchinson. And Lauren Barber. Are they beautiful? Whoa! All right. What gorgeous. I feel like this is chorus line. Oh, anyway, while they're going to the back, and they will perform in just a moment, they're going to do 4 short dances. The Nymphs, Gazelle First Act Variation, which is going to be by Alexandria McWilliams. That's the only one where you just have one dancer. The next is called I'll Be Waiting. And the last is Imagine, John Lennon. Oh, yes. Welcome. Hang in.
under every sky, over every border, and on every line. You know my heart more than I do. We were the greatest, me and you. But we had time against us and miles between us. The heavens cried. I know I left you speechless, but now the sky is cleared and it's blue, and I see my future in you. I'll be waiting for you when you're ready to love me again. I'll put my hands up. I'll do everything different. I'll be better to you. I'll be waiting for you when you're ready to love me again. I'll put my hands up. I'll be somebody different. I'll be better to you. Let me stay here for just one more night. Build you all around me, pull me to the light, so I can tell you that I was wrong. I was a child then, but now willing to learn. But we had time against us and miles between us. The heavens cried. I know I left you speechless, but now the sky is clear and it's blue, and I see my future in you. I'll be waiting for you when you're ready to love me again. I'll put my hands up. I'll be somebody different. I'll be better to you.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, or brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one.
Bravo. Let's bring them all out, shall we? Lady, let's bring our dancers out. The person that is responsible for this, I absolutely must have her come out. She said, "Are you sure I'm really not dressed?" I said, "Abigail, it's your beautiful ballet school." She started it 26 years ago. Abigail is from Brazil. She herself came here and first danced with the Washington Ballet and then the American Contemporary Ballet. So let's bring her out and say thank you to the woman who put this all together. Abigail Francisco, School of Classical Ballet. Thank you, Abigail. Shall we? Okay. Well, I was going to have actually, I was going to have them all come out again, but if they've all gone back and they're starting dressing, then I will just talk for a minute and say this has been an incredible show, hasn't it? So we are so fortunate. We are very, very fortunate that we've had all the people that we've had here today. We're just about near the end, and I will be now inviting the woman who is next on our show, whose name is Becky Levy. She, here we go again. She started when she was 9 years old. Mother, you were right. I know you were right. You said, hang in there. If you're going to make it to the top, you've got to start doing it when you're 9 years old. She's a rising star, really, in today's music universe, and she's been displaying a level of achievement that bellies her age. The Washington, D.C. native spent the last year appearing at concerts, performing the national anthem at major sporting events, writing and recording songs with national-level musicians, and acting as national spokesperson for an issue that I know has been top of the list in terms of America, which is the anti-bullying campaign. All this by the age of 16. Please welcome Becca Levy, who will sing I Have a Dream by ABBA from Mamma Mia.
Have a dream, a song to sing, to help me cope with anything. If you see the ending of a fairy tale, you can see the future, even if you fail. I believe in angels, something good in everything I see. I believe in angels, when I know the time is right for me, I cross the stream. Have a dream. Have a dream. I want to help me through to reality. And my destination, make the road to rise. I'm pushing through the darkness, it's still another mile. I believe in angels, something good in everything I see. I believe in angels, when I know the time is right for me, I cross the street. Thank you.
You stay right on. Anyway, please stay on stage because we are now going to thank you, darling. That was beautiful. Becca, here we that was absolutely wonderful. 16. Oh my heavens. Anyway, well, this has been a fabulous, fabulous day. You've been a great audience. I want to thank each and every one of you. We're going to ask each of our panelists and our performers to come up on stage, and we have very special spiritual guides that are here with us. So I'd like to start off with Chrysalyn Petropoulos. Where are you? Ahoo! Lucille Ball and Marie Callas, all wrapped into one. Chrysaline, we call on you. Please come to the stage. Oh, you haven't, oh, that's a whole show in itself, I assure you. She is a amazing woman. Chrysaline, we love you. Here you go, upstage. Mills. Okay, yes. Alan Mills, our singer. Blood Red, please come on. Saswat Kumar, our 8-year-old student extraordinaire, scientist to be. Come on, Saswat. You have a big fan club right here, darling. And, do you remember our comedian, the one I was worried about? Bijay, where are you? Superstar. No wonder you're at the top of your field. The quiet one, they claim. Our panel, Harriet Fulbright. Let's get that's Fulbright. There's Rockefeller and then there's Fulbright. Okay, just to make sure you know. It's true. Dr. Kayla Iyengar, sister, please join us. Dr. Kanu Kogod, our moderator. And last but not least, the man whose film is opening today, Clark Peters. Thank you, Clark. And let's bring on our dancers so we can also hear the Abigail Francisco School of Classical Ballet. Are we out there, ladies? If you'll all line up here. And I think we're all going to sit down, and we've got our yogis that are going to join us, and we'll have closing remarks and meditation by Sister Jenna. This is a meditation. Remember, we can do it while we're walking around. I'm doing it right now. Thanks again to the Brahma Kumaris. Please stand up. Let's say thank you again, you wonderful, wonderful group, you magnificent organization. Stand up and let us acknowledge you. They're very shy. Stand up. We'll wave then at least. Okay. And I want to thank the people backstage. Antonia, where are you? You ought to wave. Come on out and wave. She coordinated the whole event from behind the scenes. It's hard to get the behind the scenes. There's some of us that are always love to be out in front, but the others, it's harder to get out. I don't, and Suja, are you, well, she's doing the technical, so I don't think she can come out. And David, who did the ushering. Anyway, thanks to each and every one of you, and now we're going to have Sister Jenna come out, and she is going to give our closing remarks. Sister Jenna. So can everybody move over? And they are to sit down, right, on the floor? Okay. It's all yours. It's all yours. Sister Jenna.
I think the adults can sit on the chair. And all the dancers, can you come out, and all the yogis? Um, can we get a big hand for Jan DePlane? I would like to basically thank everybody, every one of you, working behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, for bringing together this beautiful story in history. Did you all have a good time tonight? Did you all really have a good time tonight? We spoke a lot of things this evening about the importance of meditation, the importance of incorporating spirituality in our lives. And there are many, many points that came out this evening, but one in particular is what this country can convey to the rest of the world. I'd like to request that we begin it tonight, where we really start to reflect on some of the words spoken by Saswat in his poem, to keep asking ourselves, how do I feel? And what am I thinking? Because something one of my great mentors taught me, Sister Mohini, who's the president of the Brahma Kumaris, I asked her, tell me, what is meditation really? We're yogis. And she laughed. And she said, Jenna, the first step is to be comfortable with your own thoughts. That's the beginning step of meditation. And if you can begin to be comfortable with your own thoughts and begin to nurture those thoughts, you can eventually have yoga, which is connection to God. Isn't that beautiful? And I thought that was something that struck me very strongly. Meditation without a connection to the Supreme might make me still feel a little bit alone and scared. I need a companion. I need a soul who will always be there. Someone that knows the deepest resources of my soul. You know, they have doctors for the brain and doctors for emotions and doctors for the body. But a doctor for the soul, somewhere up above. And because maybe for some of us the pain is so deep, he needs a lot of light to get in. And so the more I can be quiet, I can allow the light to go to where it's supposed to go in the soul to heal me. And if we can heal ourselves, we can heal our city, our nation, maybe the world too. Maybe the world too. This is just not another event. This is an experience. And it's an opportunity for me to trust into something that's very, very old in me. It's called divinity. And yet, if I activate it, it feels so new. And I'd like for us to walk away tonight feeling new and activated. Like on a computer, when you press your disabled button, no matter how hard you try, that program is not going to come in. So if I disable algae, anger, lust, greed, attachment, and ego, it can't come in. And if I enable love, peace, purity, truth, and joy, that's all going to be in my programming. That's it. And that's what tonight's about. So we ask you, on behalf of all the brothers and sisters of the Brahma Kumaris, and all the friends that are in this room of the Brahma Kumaris, let's activate and enable what we can, and let's disable what we don't want any more of. So if you give me permission to take you through a meditation, is that okay? Yes? And we have all of these wonderful yogis sitting here to create the atmosphere in the space. We'll also have a little video going in the back to help you to make the focus a little bit easier. And when the night is over, I invite you to quietly walk out, and at the doors will be little angels giving you gift items for the night. Inside of the bags is a blessing. Don't go home without a blessing. A door hanger. You want to hear what it says? Do not disturb, I'm meditating. A lucky stone, and a wonderful treat called toli. Once you eat it, you can't go back. You got to stay sweet. Can't break the rules after tonight, okay? I'd like to thank all the panelists. I'd love to especially thank Sister Kala. She flew in from Canada today into New York, and from New York just to be with us tonight, and she flies back out tomorrow for a program. Thank you so much. She is one of my teachers. I gave her such a hard time. I'm just surprised she didn't gray. And Kanu, who has been an incredible friend over the years, Jan, everyone, Deepak and the Mr. who got the beautiful flowers that you see and orchids. Thanks to them and every one of you. Kathy Ayana's in the room. Penny made it. Rick Rogers, beautiful spirit, Makeham's parents, all of you who I can't even see right now. Thank you for a lovely, lovely evening. And we will now pause for some meditation. Ready? Ready? All right. Breathe in deeply. Inhale and exhale. Breathe in very deeply again. And just for a while, I'd like you to let go of all the labels. The ones that we're so used to. The name. Just forget your name tonight. Forget your gender. For this moment, don't think of yourself as a man or woman. It's not important. Let go of the role that you play, the titles that you own. Let go of language, your religion. Just let go of the body and check. How do I feel? I have no name, gender, role, title. And in this awareness, who would think of me? And who would I think of? It would be God. There's nothing in between. I, the soul, the Supreme Father. It is this silent link. That I can move beyond limits. And really be who I am. Loving, pure, wise, and peaceful. There's a memory in all of us. It's silent. And it's in that place that the Supreme Father can do his work. Om Shanti. Just take the next few minutes and just keep pausing. Make a wish tonight. Just make a wish for tonight. Because if you had one wish, what would it be?
see all your faces on my TV, driven and hungry with eyes full of tears, mourning your children, fathers and friends, caught in a war that just never ends. How long will it be till your life is mine, and all I believe in has turned into lies? With all that I am and all that I have, I send you this token, this love from my heart. Oh, I've seen a place much more than a dream, a place of such beauty it hurts just to see, a place of no pain, no crying, no war, where peace is the treasure that has been restored. I had one wish, it would be
Thank you again for everyone being part of what I feel is an extraordinary evening. America meditating. Thank you again to all of our performers, our panelists, our dancers, and if all of you, and to Sister Jenna, please stand here. Just stand here. And just thank you again to this extraordinary woman. 15 years ago. And if you will all walk out, go gently into that night, and if you'll all walk out quietly, there will be treats for you at the end, which is what the Brahma Kumaris always do. And thank you, Brahma Kumaris, for putting this all together. Thank you, everybody.